And modern problems require modern solutions.
Hey there, welcome to the show. It's me, Stuart Thompson with Strength for Tomorrow Radio. Thank you for joining me. It should be Friday when you're listening to this. If you're an avid fan, it comes out Friday evening. Last week we had episode 47, so that means that this week must be episode 48 according to my mathematics skills. Last week we thought about the fitness tests in the police, the fire service and the armed services, and we asked the question, are they getting easier? So I've had some feedback in that, not loads, but like some people are saying, yeah, you got a point there, and other people are kind of disagree, which is cool. I like hearing other people's opinions and just getting people to think about these things, or making you aware of them if you're not aware of them. This week, we are going to think about how to train to suit your goals. So, a lot of people start the gym, they'll take up a class and start doing a program, they'll find something online and they'll start doing it. And they will do it whether it was designed for them and their goals or not. That's my experience. Do you know what I mean? So, this week, hopefully this episode helps you to figure out if the class you're doing or the type of training you're doing is really aligned to your goals. What is it you want to get out of it? What is it you want to achieve? Do you want to change your body shape? Do you want to get stronger? Do you want to get fitter aerobically? Do you want to become more flexible? What is it? Maybe just like the feeling of it. Maybe just like the people that you train with. Cool. But if you are wanting to think about it in more clearly defined terms, this is the one for you. This is the episode for you to get stuck into. So do stick around and listen. I'm also going to be giving you some of my thoughts on how I come up with programming for my personal training clients, for my semi-private personal training clients, as well as programming for my classes we have here that Jack and I both run every single week, every weekday at 6:15 and every Saturday morning as well. So stick around, hope you enjoy it. So, how are you training at the moment? What are you training for? Have your goals changed? What are your goals? How do you decide what type of training you're going to do to match up with your goals? Do you just do what your friend's doing? Do you just do what an influencer on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or something is doing? Or TikTok? I don't have TikTok, but apparently it's pretty popular right now and I should be on it. Do you do classes? Do you like a group format? There's lots of things to think about, and a lot of people don't think about it. A lot of people just sort of go, right, I need to get in shape, I'm going to get a personal trainer. And they leave it up to the personal trainer to decide. So how do I, as a personal trainer, how do I program for my clients? Well, there's a couple of things you have to balance, you have to juggle as a personal trainer, I think. One of them is I want to give you the most effective workout in the short space of time that I get to spend with you. So if I've got 2 or 3 hours a week to work with you, I want to make sure you're getting as much out of every exercise that I choose for you to do as possible. So it's different if maybe you've got a gym membership and you're going to train 4, 5 or 6 days a week, you're going to get lots of sessions in, then your program's going to look a little bit different. But for most of my clients, most of them like lifting weights, so that's a big component. So there's a couple of things you have to balance. Yeah, I have to go back there. One of them is I want you to enjoy the exercises you do. So I kind of find out what type of exercise you like doing. Do you like doing lots of HIIT type training? Do you like doing cardio? Do you like doing weights? Do you like doing body weight exercises? What is it you like doing? If you hate rowing, I'm not going to stick you in a rower probably at all. We've got lots of other options to play with. If you really love boxing, and I know that, I'm going to start trying to include boxing into your workouts to try and keep you engaged and to help you get as much out of it as possible, because I know you're going to work harder then. If I find something that you really enjoy, you're probably going to work harder at it, and you're going to do it more regularly, and you're going to want to come to the gym and do it even in early mornings when you can't be bothered getting out of bed. So that's something to think about. But then I have to think about effectiveness. So maybe someone says that they want to get really strong, and then they tell me, and I really love doing boxing. The problem there is that those two things do not marry up. They don't agree necessarily. Doing boxing, punching a punch bag, hitting mitts, is not the hitting pads, I should say, with mitts. Doing that is not the most effective way to get stronger. Okay, that should be pretty obvious. Now, does that mean that you're not allowed to do boxing? No, it just means it's not a very good way to get strong. In fact, you're not going to get strong at all. You're going to build stamina. You're going to build endurance. You're going to be able to keep your arms up high and all that stuff. And you're going to work your cardiovascular system. Sorry if you hear a bit of clicking and popping. That's just my printer. Don't know what it's doing here. It's, don't know, kicking into life. Anyway, yeah, if you're doing boxing, that's great if you enjoy it. But if you're like, I want to get stronger, I want to either put on muscle or whatever, I'm going to start suggesting that we do some weights. And I'm going to suggest it pretty quickly because that is the most effective way to get stronger, right? Again, pretty obvious stuff, pretty basic stuff. So as a personal trainer, it's up to me to try and figure out a program for you to do that combines your goal of getting stronger while also including an element that you enjoy. So maybe we'll spend the first 30 or 40 or 50 minutes doing weights, and then we'll do a bit of boxing maybe in between, just to finish off and to send you out on a high, make you feel good, get the endorphins going, and get a bit of a sweat and get out of breath significantly. So you see the thought process there? It's a really simple, basic one. That's a really simple example, but the same thing goes for lots of other things as well. Sometimes it's more complex. If someone says they want to lose fat, they want to get leaner, they want to tone their waist and stuff, then I'm gonna, again, there's the most effective way to do it, and there's probably the least effective way. The most effective way is probably to do some weights, maybe some cardio. That's what everybody suggests, right? I'm gonna say there's not much difference between doing all weights or doing all cardio. However, I would recommend doing weights as much of and as regularly as possible, because you're going to get lots and lots of benefits. And we've dealt with this in previous episodes. How are you going to get more benefit? Well, one, it's going to be the most efficient way to do things because you're burning energy as you lift weights. As you get stronger, you burn even more energy. If you started off squatting with 30 kilos and suddenly a few weeks later you're squatting 60 kilos, you're essentially burning double the amount of energy. Maybe not exactly, maybe you get more efficient at it, but you're going to be burning a lot more energy. If you take your squat up to 130 kilos, guess what? For every single rep you do, you're burning more energy than you used to. With cardio and stuff like that, the opposite is true. As you get slimmer, as you get leaner, as you lose weight, you are going to be burning less energy. Why does this happen? Well, a couple of reasons. One, we get more efficient. So the more regularly we do a certain thing, the more efficient we get. So if you're always doing running, your body finds a way to do it more efficiently using less energy. Maybe you take up rowing or cycling. At the start, you won't be as efficient. So you're transitioning from running to one of those other activities and you're not going to be as efficient. Your body has to figure out how to do it. This takes a little bit of time, and until then, you're going to be burning energy more inefficiently. So that's obviously a good thing if you're trying to get in a calorie deficit and to get slimmer or to get more toned and all of that. So that kind of explains it. The thing with weight training and strength training is that you can continually move the goalposts. So you're never going to have a stagnant goal. Your goal and how your body uses the energy that it has is going to change. So as you add more weight, the goalposts are constantly shifting. So hopefully that explains a little bit about how I program. One, it's trying to give you something that you enjoy. Two, it's trying to give you something that's effective. And sometimes the two marry up. Sometimes it takes a little bit of convincing. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and then as you get better at it, you enjoy it. Because most of us hate the stuff we're not good at, right? I hate it. Like, I'm pretty crap at golf, so I'm not a big fan of golf. I give you a list of the length of my arm of other things I'm not very good at, which is why I don't do them. We always enjoy doing the things that we tend to be better at, or we perceive that we're better at. But stuff takes time. No matter what you do, if you're starting a new class, it can take time. But hopefully that explains why weight training is so effective, and more people are enjoying weight training. I know there's a lot of people still have there's a bit of a stigma, especially maybe the older generation. A lot of the older generation used to think that the weight training area was for women, the weight training area was for men, and the the cardio area was for women, which thankfully it's almost been reversed now. It's almost got to the point where certainly more guys are doing running and cardio and stuff, and less are doing weights, which like could be a problem in a couple of years' time because we're gonna have a lot of weaker guys around. But having said that, it's great to see so many women lifting weights and knowing now the benefits of it and appreciating the benefits of it, and from all ages. And slowly that message is getting through. The media still isn't picking up on it, but what's new? Not a surprise. But there's nothing brings me more joy. Well, a few things bring me more joy than me introducing an exercise to a client. It's a brand new exercise. Hip thrusts are quite a good example. And at the start, they're like, "Oh, I hate these. I have to do these," and I'm like, "Just give them a go. Just give them a go. See how you get on." And the amount of times that someone will try them and they'll hate them, maybe the first couple of times they try it, and then all of a sudden they look forward to it. They look forward to the feeling that they get from it. They look forward to the sensation that it gives them. And if you've never tried hip thrusts and you've never actually felt your glutes working really, really hard, it's a mad feeling. It's a bit of a mad feeling. I sometimes joke with clients that I'm gonna get a board, like a big collage made of just take photographs of clients after they've done 3 sets. Because for some reason, everybody always ends up on the floor in the fetal position, just like curled up in a little ball, like crying for mercy. it's a funny sight, but I don't know what it is. Everybody seems to have that experience whenever they do them and they do them properly. But yeah, there's other exercises, and clients maybe they've this really great can-do attitude. They're just like, yeah, I'll give it a go. Never done it before. I'll give it a go. I'll listen to what you say. Sometimes the worst thing is if someone has a little bit of experience and maybe they did it themselves. Deadlifts are a good example, and someone's hurt their back and they're like, oh no, I don't do deadlifts. I'm not doing them again. I hurt my back last time. Not doing that. Which is understandable. I mean, if you've been in a tremendous amount of pain, you've ever experienced back pain, the last thing you want to do is to injure it again or hurt it again. And sometimes when it comes to pain, and we're learning more and more about pain and how we perceive pain, but sometimes whenever we have experienced a significant amount of pain from something like a deadlift, we have that memory of it, and the memory of it can almost re-trigger the pain. We can almost feel it just by thinking about it. It's a weird study, the study of pain. So I can understand that, but whenever someone tries to do it the way we teach it, they get it right. If they listen and they apply it and kind of empty their head of all other thoughts when it comes to the deadlift and just do what we say, they will get through it just fine. And I've had clients who have maybe had back pain for years, and all of a sudden started deadlifting and hip hinging correctly, bracing their core correctly, and just doing it as we describe and as we prescribe. And it's amazing just to see their confidence growing in their own body, and a body they thought they were going to be in pain and for the rest of their life. Suddenly it feels strong again for them. So there's lots of exercises. The other thing is we try to get in the big complex movements, compound movements. So like deadlifts, squats, presses, pull-ups, anything that you're going to use multiple joints. It's a really, really effective use of your time. If you're simply doing tricep kicks or curls or leg extensions and stuff like that, if that's the basis of your workout, I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. All I'm saying is you're not making the best use of your time. And I've gone into detail. We've explained this on a number of occasions, and there's one episode in particular we took to task the role of machines versus free weights and barbells and dumbbells and stuff like that. So if you're not sure what I mean, or I'm not making that clear enough, go back and listen to that episode. It was quite near the start. I'm not sure which one it was. It was way back. So hopefully that explains a little bit about my thoughts behind programming for clients and why I want you to get the best out of your training, but I also want you to enjoy it. And sometimes it's a bit of a tricky situation trying to marry those two things up. So what about classes? Classes are really, really popular at the moment, aren't they? You obviously see all the big numbers, you see lots of people doing it, and it's obviously less expensive than personal training and semi-private training. Some people, it is their preferred method, even if they have more than enough money to afford personal training. They just love the group aspect of training. They love training with a group, and they love suffering together, and they love sweating together, and just having the crack then before and after and during it. So lots of classes, there's HIIT classes, spin classes, body pump, circuits. There's all sorts of new ones invented now and variations of it. So the goal, not the goal, but sometimes we get lost in the fact that these classes burn calories. Some people think that is the purpose of them, that's the point of them, that's why their trainer is holding the class, which I think is a mistake. And yes, burning energy is a byproduct. It's like getting in your car and driving about. So I saw someone put that up on Instagram during the week. Exercising just to burn energy is like getting in your car just to drive around and burn energy. Like, what's the point? Where's your destination? Where are you going? It'll probably not be very long in the world we're living in before driving about just to burn energy is a criminal offence and you're locked up for it. But until then, it's probably not the wisest thing to do. It's just, it's a bit of a waste of time, a bit of a waste of effort, a bit of a waste of money, especially the price of fuel these days. But the same thing goes for burning energy, and just that's the point of your class. If you think you're just turning up to your HIIT, your spin, your body pump, or your circuits class just to burn energy, that's not the main point of it. That's a byproduct. And whenever we place the emphasis on burning calories all the time, and we're guilty of this as trainers all the time, because that's what we think people are thinking about and they're obsessed about. There's so many other benefits. So, HIIT class, the purpose of a HIIT class, and this applies to some other classes as well, is to jack your heart rate up. So you're spiking your heart rate and then letting it drop. So your high intensity interval training is the long version of it. So we know the benefits of that are you're going to stimulate your metabolism. So you're going to be burning extra energy while you rest for up to 36 hours later is the latest study I'm familiar with. That's what we found one of the benefits is. So you're going to stimulate your metabolism. You're also going to burn lots of energy during that time. You're going to get the endorphins rushing around the place, and depending on the type of exercise activity you're doing, whether it's cardio, weights, or whatever, you're going to strengthen your muscles. You're going to work your aerobic system. So there's lots of benefits for that. And spin class, they're really popular. You hear people getting addicted to spin. They hate exercise, but suddenly they start a spin class, and next thing they're Lance Armstrong. Maybe Lance Armstrong's not the best example. Who's not on drugs that does cycling? Anyway, I'll leave that there. I should say high level cycling. Okay, next one, body pump. Yeah, body pump again, if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of doing, like, I guess your compound movements, but with lighter weight and doing them to music. So again, you burn lots of energy. That sometimes people get caught up in that aspect of it. You get like the word says, a pump. You push lots of blood into your muscles. You get that sort of lactate build-up. You get that sort of pain. You're probably going to be sore the next day. But it's really popular. I know my wife used to love it. She used to love spin as well. She loved circuit classes, and she was living in Belfast and going to classes up there. Circuit, same thing. You're mixing a variety of movements together. The way that we would do circuit style training sometimes in our total body toning class, and that could be a variety of things. Usually we would kind of get a mixture of things. So maybe you get a lower body strength exercise, and then like a core exercise, and then like a cardio exercise, and then like an upper body strength exercise. All sorts of different ways to program it. But the idea again is you're going to be able to keep working at a maximal level, giving certain muscle groups and certain energy systems a rest while you're working other things. And again, it makes for quite an effective workout. So yeah, there's lots of options, there's lots of varieties, there's lots of, some of these things are backed by scientific principles, but sometimes people get caught up in the fact, and they get lost in the detail of it burns calories. Which class burns the most calories? That's all I want to know. But all these classes, there's lots of different benefits come from it, but it depends on your goal. If your goal is to get stronger, none of these classes are going to be optimal for you. I'm not saying they won't make you stronger. If you are going, getting off the couch, use this example all the time, but if you're just crawling off the couch and going to a gym class, you've never been to a gym before, never been to a class before, and you suddenly start doing something, you're going to start getting a little bit stronger. Just even managing your own body weight is going to make you stronger to a point. But strength, by definition, is applying a force against an external resistance. So if you're able to generate more force against an external resistance, the next time you're getting stronger. So it'll work up to a point. Obviously, it can help you manage your weight because it burns calories. It's good for your heart. All these classes are good for lots of different things, your aerobic capacity, etc. It's good for your endurance, good for your stamina. It's good for mobility as well, in some cases. So there's lots of benefits, but they're all quite similar, those types of classes. Legs, bums, and tums, you ever heard of it? it's quite a funny one, and it kind of gives you an impression that you can shape or sculpt those areas, and you can if you are a bodybuilder and you've got a really low percentage body fat, and the other caveat is lifting lots and lots of weight, heavy enough weight. Does it really tone your legs, bum, and your tum if you're the average person who's not dialed in their nutrition? Probably hard. Probably not. I don't want to be too hard on this class because I'm aware I'm probably slightly jealous of it because it's such a great name, and I'm just jealous that I didn't come up with it. It's such a great name, legs, bums, tums. Like, it rhymes, it's great. But all joking aside, there's a couple of things about it, a couple of issues. Yes, you're probably going to get plenty of work into your legs, your glutes, and your abs. You're going to do lots of reps, and you're probably going to make those areas really sore for the next couple of days. Eventually, you probably get used to it. But does this mean that's an effective way to, inverted commas, tone those areas? Maybe. If you're going, like we said, if you're going heavy enough and you're managing your energy intake well, so your calorie intake, your energy balance, if you're doing those things well, you can create a calorie deficit. One of the issues with these types of classes is that they tend to, do on literally uncountable numbers of reps, like dozens and tens and hundreds in some cases of reps, but with very, very little weight. At least not enough weight to significantly change much about your muscles. We know that you need to have a significant amount of stress applied to your muscles to be able to change them, to make them grow, to make them firmer, make them harder, and all that stuff. So it's a funny one. Like, obviously, if you're, again, getting straight off the couch, it's probably a good way to go. Now, you're going to be sore. It's not a progressive way to load your muscles and overload your muscles. It's kind of a shock to the system. You're going to be really achy and sore for a couple of weeks or a few sessions into it. So what about things like swimming? Swimming's really popular, and you see a lot of older people getting into swimming after maybe their joints start to get a little bit sore. Osteoporosis, you see people who've maybe got diagnosed with osteoporosis taking up swimming, which is not a great idea, in my opinion, because at least it's not, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do. I'm just saying if you're exclusively doing it and you're not doing any other kind of weight bearing exercise or loading exercise, because what swimming does is it makes you weightless essentially. Takes a lot of pressure off you, right? You kind of become buoyant in the water. But it's good for your endurance, your stamina, your aerobic capacity. But if you're always swimming and you're not doing anything load bearing, your joints or your bone density is not going to benefit from that, unlike a lot of other activities. Cycling, similarly, you're going to improve your endurance, your stamina, your aerobic capacity, your leg strength up to a point, and again, depends on what type of training you're doing, whether it's sprints or long distance, whether it's hills, etc. But again, great one for working the heart, great one for again getting a pump in the legs. Running, endurance, stamina, aerobic capacity, legs again, bit of core in there as well. I guess using your arms a little bit, but I'm trying to bring it back to what is your goal? What is it you're trying to achieve? Are you trying to get better at swimming? You need to do more swimming. Are you trying to get better at cycling? Do more cycling. If you're trying to get better at running, do more running. If you're trying to win a marathon, doing cycling for training for a marathon is probably not the best use of your time. Same thing, if you're trying to be a triathlete, you need to be able to commit a lot of time to all of these activities to get better at them, to get more efficient. So the goal with that, if you're trying to be competitive as a triathlete, is to become more efficient. So retain energy, save energy, unlike classes which the goal is to become less efficient. So doing lots of a variety of exercises means your body's going to burn more energy, which is what a lot of people think is the only purpose of them. And I guess that's like a lot of these classes have been designed to burn lots of energy, right? Whereas swimming, cycling, running, the athlete's goal, and I've had the pleasure of training some people who are really good at these things. Their goal is to become super efficient at it, so they're not wasting energy. So they don't have a really ineffective stride, or they don't have really an effective stroke on their swimming. So they're able to put as much as possible, equal power through each leg as they cycle. What about CrossFit? CrossFit's an interesting one. So CrossFit, if you're not familiar with it, they try to define fitness. They try to define it in terms of what is fitness? Is it just, Paula Radcliffe be able to run a marathon? They have 9 components of fitness. So they are endurance, stamina, strength, flexibility, power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. And if you were to apply all of those criteria to someone like a marathoner, like Paula Radcliffe or Kipchoge, how you pronounce it? He's super fast, isn't he? He's like the world record holder. If you apply all of these things to them, do they have endurance? Yes. Stamina? Yes. Strength? I wouldn't say so. They're not going to be the strongest. Flexibility? A lot of times they're not very flexible runners. They're notoriously quite tight. Power, explosiveness? Nope. Long distance? They're not going to be very powerful. Speed? Nope. It's not speed. They're quick over a long distance, but speed by definition is time minimization. So, like, if you compared someone like that to someone like Usain Bolt, who's still probably pretty quick, they're not going to be very, very close. Coordination, movement, integration. So yes, a little bit of coordination and running. You're having to obviously plant your feet accurately, so you're not wasting time or your stride. Agility, movement control. So yeah, there's agility in there, but not really high demand. Balance, yeah, decent balance needed. Body control, and then accuracy, movement, precision. So there's certain elements, but they certainly tick a lot of those boxes to some extent. But fitness is an interesting one, isn't it? So if you take all of those things, CrossFit is I think it's extremely difficult to program well. And I've chatted to Kyle Gregg about this, and we both agree with that. It's really difficult to get better at long distance running while also getting stronger at maybe your 1 rep max deadlift. Those are really difficult to combine. They're basically at different ends of the training spectrum. So what that means is if you're spending a lot of your time doing long distance running, trying to get better at like a 10k or half marathon time or pace, while you're trying to try and get stronger, get your 1 rep max deadlift up, something's going to give. Something is going to take up more of your time, and it's also really difficult to not overuse certain joints because there's certain movements that will be repetitive. If you're trying to improve your stamina and your endurance, you are going to have to do a lot of reps of something, whether it's running or whether it's overhead presses, whether it's push-ups, or your joints can take a pounding unless you're really careful about it, unless you're really smart in how you program it. And that's the tricky part. Something is going to have to give somewhere. You might get better at your gymnastics movements, maybe you get better at doing pull-ups, but suddenly your 1 rep max bench press isn't as good, or your squat maybe suffers a little bit, or like I said, you're swimming or you're running. Because CrossFit combines so many different disciplines, there's always somewhere to work on, which makes it challenging, makes it fun, it makes it like a never-ending quest to get better. But because CrossFit, as I said, it incorporated so many different aspects, it means that you can benefit in lots of ways. So it can cross over to lots of different areas of your life and of different sports. Because those 9 components mentioned are tested and trained regularly, they can benefit your joint health whenever you do it correctly. They can improve you at your sport, so whether it's your explosiveness or whether it is your strength, whether it is your speed, they can help you get stronger, can help you build or maintain balance just if you're an older person, and they can help with heart health and your aerobic capacity and stuff like that. So there's lots and lots of benefits to it. It's just sometimes people get sucked into it. It gets often accused of being a cult, because I think there's a really supportive community around it most of the time. But it's easy to start going 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. The next thing, there's 6 days a week. People go 7 days a week. They just get obsessed with it. And I've been there. I was in that world. I used to train so much, but you start getting overuse injuries. You start getting little aches and pains here and there, and your muscles are kind of always sore. So some people are, the other side of it is some people aren't competitive enough, which can mean that they lose the benefit of the intensity of CrossFit training. I think no matter what, CrossFit gets criticised saying, it injures people and stuff. I don't think it does. I think poor movement injures people. I think overuse of certain things injure people. I think people do it to themselves a lot of the time, and they don't listen to their bodies, and they don't really have a plan. I don't even put it down to one activity or one sport. Otherwise, nobody's going to play rugby again. I mean, rugby is a pretty high injury rate. Gymnastics is a pretty high injury rate. Nobody really accuses those things of it, though. For some reason, CrossFit gets it, which I think is a little bit unfair. But the intensity of CrossFit is one thing that you cannot criticise of it. It's brought intensity back to things like weight training. It's brought intensity back to, instead of people just messing about in the gym and having a chat, lying about. It's brought in like a certain amount of intensity, and I think that is really what was missing from the gym experience. Now, there's a time and a place for everything. Obviously, if you're trying to get stronger, you can't be going gung ho and going mad and trying to just run around and do as much work as possible. Like, there's a time and a place for everything. And if you aren't trying to improve yourself or beat your classmates, just like they do in CrossFit classes, you kind of lose a lot of the benefits that intensity brings. If you're just going through the motions, CrossFit's probably not for you, so it's probably not going to match up. So again, it comes back to what's your goal? What is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? And I think CrossFit kind of covers a lot of bases. So as you can probably imagine in the name of this business, cross-functional fitness, there's a certain amount of respect for CrossFit and its principles and its methodology. I appreciate a lot of it. I tweak it and make it work for me, for my clients, for my classes, but there's definitely lots of benefits that come from it, and they hit a lot of goals that people will have, whether it's to tone up, whether it's to get stronger, whether it's to get bigger muscles, whether it is to get better at rugby or football or whatever. It can certainly cross over to those things as long as it's programmed correctly. And same with most things. There's good trainers, there's good programmers, and there's bad trainers and bad programmers. So it takes a bit of discernment, it takes a bit of experience and time before you understand what makes those things good or bad. So what about strength training classes? So strength training, I think, often gets quite misunderstood because it can serve a whole multitude of purposes, and it can make you better at lots and lots of stuff. Just like I guess we've said about CrossFit, although we give that example, trying to get better at long distance running compared to getting stronger at 1 rep max deadlift. Two opposite ends of the spectrum, right? But the only thing is, whenever you think about it, if you get your 1 rep max deadlift, say you get stronger, right? Say you take your deadlift from 50 kilos to 150 kilos. That is not going to impair your long distance running. But if you got your marathon time down from 4 hours to like 2.5 hours or 3 hours or whatever, that is going to impair your strength. Okay, because you're going to be putting in so many miles on the clock, you're going to be committing so many hours and so much energy to endurance, that it is going to have an effect on your top leg and your strength. So strength doesn't deter from your endurance and your stamina, but the opposite is true. Your stamina and your endurance will take away from your strength. So that's something to bear in mind. And whenever I suggest that people should do strength training, I think everybody should do it. Most people aren't strong enough, and I can kind of see that every time someone comes in the gym who's new. They might consider themselves fairly fit, fairly active, but their strength, by all accounts, we are getting weaker, which is sad to say. Doesn't bring me joy to say it, but we are getting weaker in spite of there being more gyms and more access to equipment than ever. We are getting weaker as a society, and I guess there's lots of reasons you can cite for that. Whether it's, we're living a convenient society, right? But whenever I say that someone should, we should be doing strength training, most people are going to benefit. Almost everybody's going to benefit from strength training, from being stronger. I'm not saying you should become a powerlifter. I'm not saying that should suddenly be everybody's goal. You don't have to be able to deadlift 300 kilos. That doesn't have to be your goal. If you want to, go for it. I'm not going to do that, but the purpose is simply to get stronger than you currently are. And the purpose of strength training is to gradually increase your capacity to produce force against an external resistance. So if you come in the first day and you're able to squat 30 kilos, my job and your goal is going to be able to just do a little bit more than that next time. And some people put limits on themselves and suddenly think, oh, I'll not be lifting more yet, but I'll be sticking at 30 for a while. That's not the way the body works. Even if we wanted it to, your body after you have applied that stress to it, then you recover, you will adapt, and you will be able to produce more force the next time. So your weight goes up, so maybe it goes up to 32.5 kilos, maybe it goes up to 35 kilos. You probably will be able to add a few kilos extra like 35, go from 30 to 35 the first few sessions, then go from 30 to 40. That'll happen for a while because your body, one, you're still getting used to the feeling of it, and two, you're going to have the biggest increases in strength at the start. After a while, it'll start getting reduced. But that's the point. The purpose of it, I'm going to say it again, of strength training is to gradually increase your capacity to produce force against an external resistance. That external resistance is usually a barbell. A barbell is the best tool to use. You know, it's a bit like you can hammer with a pair of pliers, but it's not the best hammer, is it? You want to use a hammer to hammer. So, like all of the other activities we've already mentioned, it's going to burn energy, right? You're going to burn energy as you do strength training. We mentioned that a little bit at the start, but whenever it's back to the old physics, isn't it? Whenever you do work, you use energy. So whenever you do strength training, you're using energy. You're doing work, so you're using energy. If you want to get, like, there's so many benefits to strength training. Like I said, it covers so many bases. It hits so many of our goals. If you want to get stronger, do strength training. If you want to get slimmer, get more toned, do strength training. Pay attention to your calories. If you want to get bigger and put on muscle, do strength training. Eat a surplus of quality calories. If you want to become a better rugby, football, tennis, bowls, hurling player, maybe you want to become a better runner, swimmer, cyclist, do strength training. And give yourself enough recovery between your strength training sessions and your sport or your discipline. If you want to improve your bone density and your bone health, do strength training. There's a long list. I could keep going here all day, but there's so many things. It trains your heart. It helps you regulate your blood pressure. It helps with so many things. It helps with mental health. It helps with decision making. It's been found to benefit when it comes to dementia and Alzheimer's. There's so many links are being discovered because for so long, whenever someone says, a doctor or a scientist said, exercise benefits the body, 9 times out of 10, what they meant was running or cardio in general. There's been very, very little on the whole. There's been very few studies have been applied to strength training and the benefits, physical health benefits of it and mental health benefits of it. Thankfully, we're getting more and more of those, but there's more and more studies coming out confirming what we already know, that lifting weights, lifting heavy things is beneficial. It's what we're designed to do, what we're meant to do. So there's so many reasons why strength training, if you're short on time, I think it's the most efficient use of your time. Obviously, if you don't enjoy it, you literally hate every moment of it. I can't force you to. I'll try and convince you. I'll do my best to convince you because it's certainly changed my life. It's certainly changed my perspective on exercise. I think I said in the very, very first episode, it was like my gateway drug. It was my gateway drug to taking care of better care of my body and trying to try other sports, try other activities, try other disciplines, be it running or whatever, things that I thought I wouldn't be good at and I wouldn't like. Suddenly, once I got a bit stronger, they're not so tough anymore. That doesn't suck as much as it used to. So I would recommend it to anybody. I think it gives you a great basis. Whenever I started trying CrossFit, actually, I started trying to do some of it. I had such a good starting point. I think that really helped me enjoy it much earlier than maybe some other people, because when you're stronger, when you have a bit of strength, when you have a bit of muscle, it just makes everything so much easier, regardless of what it is. Everything, even tiddlywinks, even snooker, it just makes everything feel so much easier and it gives you more confidence to attack it. I feel like I should say though, like we've said that if you get stronger, it's going to benefit you as an athlete, no matter what, whether it's long distance running. But if you get better at long distance running, it's not necessarily going to make you stronger. Now, there is obviously a point where, if you're eating so many calories and, you're getting your deadlift and your squat up to like 300 plus kilos, then yes, you're probably not going to be the best endurance athlete in the world, because there becomes a trade-off, okay? There becomes a point where it's traded off. But if you were to take your squat from, say, 30 kilos and got up to 130 kilos, I can guarantee you will be a better athlete than you were when you could squat 30 kilos. All other things the same. So if you kept running, obviously, you need to keep running. If you're trying to become a better runner, you can't just do strength training and become a better runner. You still need to do better running, right? But you're going to be a superior, faster, stronger, more resilient, more robust runner if you get your squat up a bit. Same with cycling, same with swimming, same with lots of different activities. Try it. If you think I'm wrong, I just challenge you to try it and let me know the outcome, because I'll probably use it as a testimonial. No joking. But it's not about being right, it's just about I know the benefit of it. I see it every day. I'm familiar with the science behind it, and I get to see it anecdotal evidence every single day. I get to see it in real life, real time. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. That's why I love to share it with other people, because I think it can do so much for public health. And that's really important at the minute, right? So when it comes to classes and principles behind how we formulate classes, how we program them, I thought it'd be interesting to give a little bit of a background, a bit of a snippet, and a bit of the insight into how we come up with our classes at Cross Functional Fitness. So about 4 years ago, I guess, must be near 4 years ago, I came up with a class called Total Body Toning, which great name, right? But we call it TBT now a lot of the time because it's such a long mouthful, isn't it? Who came up with that? It was me. I know it was me, but terrible. Anyway, we came up with Total Body Toning because I kind of wanted to give the idea of like it's a full body workout. Every week, every session, you're going to get a full body workout. You're going to be doing upper body push, upper body pull. You're going to be doing lower body strength stuff. You're going to be doing core. You're going to be doing cardio. You're going to be doing lots of shoulder pulling, biceps, pressing, triceps, chest. You're going to be doing so many different activities, and the idea was to get a good, well-rounded workout in 45 minutes, and applying other certain scientific principles to it to give class members a really effective workout. And that was really successful. Ran it for we're still running it, but it's been 4 years since we've started. And we initially started as like a 12-week block. I just want to see how it went, what people thought of it. Did they enjoy it? Did they feel the benefit of it? And then the guys asked me to continue it, so I was like, yeah, okay. Didn't have loads of people trying it at the start. There's just 2 or 3 people, but not 2 or 3. Sorry, it was about five or six I think we had. Just regulars, really committed, dedicated guys. And then we got a couple more people, and we got up to 8, and then we kept it at 8 for a good while, and we tried to keep it there. Then we got a little bit more space to play with, got some more equipment, and we were able to bring it up to 10. And now we can actually have 12 people, and that's kind of the maximum we can fit in. But I was kind of concerned more because I came from a PT background, personal training. I was really concerned with people's form, and you see people coming in and can't squat properly, can't do push-ups properly, and the attention to detail. That's kind of where I'm at. I really wanted to help people do those things correctly, just so they didn't injure themselves, didn't hurt their shoulders doing push-ups, they didn't hurt their knees doing squats, and hurt their back doing things as well, like kettlebell swings. So I was really cautious and conscious of that. So that's why at the start I was kind of limiting the numbers. Just what can I handle? How can I have eyeballs everywhere on all 8 or 10 or 12 or more people? Because I could never understand people who could do like a big class of 30 people. I still don't. I think 30 is like nuts. I think that's just crazy. But just for quality control, trying to give each class member attention and give them coaching cues and just give them value for their commitment and their time. So we try to combine lots of elements. So as we said, strength makes everything easier. We lose strength as we age unless we do something about it. And strength is earned. It's not given. You're given a little bit, but you have to do something with it. You don't use it, you lose it. And strength training can help manage lots of things like chronic conditions. Can sharpen your thinking ability, like we said, build stronger bones, help you manage your weight, and improve your joint health. So I try to incorporate strength, and then the cardiovascular side of it, tried to do like HIIT training. So we try to keep it like short bursts, and we had a circuit style just for the size of the building we have and the equipment that we have. We try to keep it kind of circuit style, so you're still doing like scientific principles. So you'll be working the upper body really hard one station, the next station maybe doing core, next station maybe doing a bit of cardio, so you're not getting the muscles too fatigued, but you're certainly giving your heart a good workout, and your lungs are getting a good punching. So obviously cardiovascular health, we all know it's important for your optimal health. So we try to keep HIIT principles in place. I want to make sure that people are getting as much bang for their buck. They're getting as much out of the activity as possible when it comes to the classes. So we try to get aerobic work in as well, build a stronger heart, reduce blood pressure, improve people's mood, get the endorphins going, and then help them obviously manage weight. And then core training as well. So trying to get people stronger core. A lot of people think their core is just to keep their belly from hanging out. That's not the purpose of why we do core work. Some people still think that is why, and I try to keep telling them that it's not. the core is so important for lots and lots of reasons. For one, it helps prevent back pain, improves your posture, and increases your power and performance. It just helps you have a better platform to push off of. So we do lots of variety of core exercises. It's not just crunches, it's not just sit-ups. Those are the ones that people obviously like spring to people's minds when they think of core and think of, you know, doing core work. It's not just your abs. The core is training so many different areas, deeper muscles that we don't even know the names of. I can't even remember the names of, but it trains those muscles as well. So we'll try to include those all in our total body toning class. So kind of thinking about those things, and as we got more people coming in and more demand, and as we were able to bring Jack in, and Jack's been able to take classes as well, we've been able to open up 2 more classes, and we did it as a pilot last year. Seems like a long time ago now, but it was last summer. We tried Atomic, which was exclusively HIIT cardio. So we tried to focus on maintaining cardiovascular health, building cardiovascular health using again HIIT training approach. So high intensity, so jacking your heart rate up, maximum 100% effort for maybe 30 seconds, 20 seconds, a minute, whatever, and then letting you rest. So we recruit lots and lots of different exercises, different cardio equipment into really short, intense bursts, and this basically allows you to ramp up your heart rate and therefore your metabolism in no time. And it leaves you feeling great afterwards. You feel busted, but you feel so well worked. You get a sweat up, you get out of breath. And it's a tough class. It's a tough class if you're putting in the effort, but I think people have really enjoyed it. We got good feedback. Again, we had like a bit of a test group for it, and we got some feedback for it, and we decided to keep it going. So we run it twice a week now, and we have also run total body toning twice a week. It used to be 3 times a week, but we do it twice a week now. And it's kind of, total body toning is kind of our tried and tested flagship class, if you like. We've done so many classes over the years now that we've a pretty good idea of how to run it, where people get a benefit, where it's effective but also semi-enjoyable. I don't know if enjoyable is the right word, but it can be scaled as well. I think that's really important to point out. We try to program our workouts where it's scalable. Everything's scalable. So if you're thinking, I could never do that because I'm not fit enough, that's like saying I could never drive a car because I'm not a Formula 1 driver. You can still do it. You just might need to go a little bit slower. You just might not take the corner so fast, right? So we try to push you a little bit, but we don't shout at you. We don't make you go harder if you don't want to go harder. Some people like that. That's not our style. It's not my style. It's not Jack's style. If that's what you're into, sweet, go and join the army maybe. I don't know. But we're not drill sergeants. We're there trying to help you with your form. We'll try and help motivate if we can, but sometimes there's nothing sucks more than you're busted, you're dying, you're giving 100%, and someone's going to start shouting at you. I know what that feels like. You just want to go and punch them, right? You just want to slap them. I'm not going to do violence, by the way. Violence is bad. This approach as well, I think it gives you the best of both worlds. So you're going to get sort of harder, firmer, stronger muscles while also burning lots and lots of calories through the variety of exercises, the inefficiency, like we said earlier. So yes, you do burn calories. That's something that people are always thinking about and they're always concerned about. As we said, it shouldn't be the goal. It's an outcome, it's a byproduct. But it allows you to keep working hard. It allows you to test a variety of elements. So like we said, if you're not used to it, you're going to burn more energy, which keeps you inefficient. So that's why I think people really like total body toning class. The format changes so much as well. Sometimes we do AMRAP, so as many rounds as possible or as many reps as possible in a restricted time frame. Sometimes we will do like partner workouts. Sometimes we'll do it as a big group. Sometimes we'll do it circuit style. We'll mix it up. Sometimes we just do rounds for time and then time cap it and things. And we often try to get outside, which we did for over the last 2 years. But yeah, hopefully that gives you an idea as to how we program it and why we program things the way we do. We also introduced a brand new class last October called Power, and it's one that serves one main purpose. It's basically to help you become stronger. So lots of people have benefited from that. It's been so cool seeing people's strength grow. People who thought, I could never lift that. And I'm like, cool, just lift a bit less, lift what you can do. I never ask you to lift more than you can lift. Everybody's got a limit, right? But like you asking me to squat 200 kilos now, I couldn't do it. I hope to one day. I hope to get up there someday, but I can't do it right now. And for someone to tell me to go and do it would be absolutely ridiculous. So it's a bit of, if you can't physically squat 50 kilos, I'm not going to tell you put 50 kilos in your back and squat it. Now, if you got to 47.5 last session, I'm going to ask you to squat 50 this week. But if you're only doing the bar, 20 kilos, That's not going to happen. So yeah, this class, it kind of meets you wherever you're at. That's the beauty of it. It meets you wherever you're at. And as I said, it's probably the one that is the most beneficial. And I hesitate to say that in some ways because they're all beneficial. But if I was like, oh, I can only commit to 2 classes a week, which 2 are they going to be? It would be that one for sure because of the benefit. It's full body. You're going to be hitting multiple muscles. You're going to be hitting multiple joints. So you're gonna benefit from that, and strength is gonna obviously benefit your strength. The strength training is gonna benefit your strength capacity, and it just brings you along nice and gently, and it builds you up every single class. It's not about trying to do something extraordinary one class. You're just building upon the last class, building upon the last class. So not only can you expect to get stronger, and this is what I was trying to say earlier, you need to be lifting significant weight. You need to be lifting heavy enough where your muscles are actually challenged. But it's going to make your muscles firmer, harder, and more toned. Like people, that's the first word that comes to people's mind whenever they start training is like, I want to be more toned here. I want to be more toned there. This class does that for you. Yes, it helps you get in the calorie deficit because you're burning energy. So if you're taking care of nutrition, and it's also going to harden and firm those muscles. The other thing is, a lot of people think that, and I guess I don't want to be sexist because, Kate's listening, but a lot of people think that they need to lose weight. A lot of people think that women especially need to think that they need to maybe lose weight, and that's not true. They don't need to lose weight. Sometimes they just need to put on more muscle, and suddenly they will look more toned. They'll feel more toned. If you continue to just lose weight and just not eat, you're going to look like a shriveled up raisin. Your skin's going to be hanging off you, and it's not going to be a good look. And again, I'm not really about aesthetics. I don't really, care that much about aesthetics, but apparently a lot of other people do. So it needs to be said. I think it's important to say that putting on a bit of muscle is gonna look and feel better for men and women, young people, old people, everybody in between, and lifting heavy weights is the way to do that, basically. So we use things like barbells primarily, sometimes dumbbells, kettlebells, and we also compound a little bit of core work in there as well. We're trying to add a little bit of core work, and more recently a little bit of mobility work as well, because that's really important, just to keep the hips healthy, the shoulders healthy, the lower back healthy, and keep them happy. So those are kind of our classes, and that's kind of how we come up with them. We have another class we've just started recently as well, and it's called Quick Fit. And again, I know, another brilliant name, right? But it kind of gives the idea that you can get fit really quick, and that's the idea. But it's an 8-week block, and it's just to introduce people back into exercise, maybe slowly. So there's a lot of people who haven't maybe trained for a couple of years with the pandemic and all that stuff going on, and they have been able to lose they put on weight, and they've been able to lose weight so quickly already. We're like a week or 2 weeks into it, and I'm hearing great reports. So Jack's heading that up, and it's early morning, so we'll wait it until the brighter mornings. Hopefully going to get more dry mornings so we can keep it outside and keep it out in the open, the fresh air, sun coming up. It's beautiful. We've got chickens over there as well. We've got chickens crowing, roosters crowing, and all sorts. But yeah, it's good. It's good crack. I'm hearing great things about it. Obviously, it's hard getting up in the morning, but the buzz you get the rest of the day must be fantastic. Some people love getting up in the morning, some people don't. But it's a 45-minute class. We try to keep it outside as much as possible because you're going to get fresh air, vitamin D production and all that with the sunlight. So if you would like to give it a go, let me know, and we'll see if we can squeeze you into it. And same with the other classes, if you'd like to try them out, we have a drop-in feature. So if you don't want to commit to do anything too drastic, just drop in for a class, see if you like it, try them out. If you want to commit further, do that. The guys are class crack. I love taking the classes, and I know Jack does as well, because it's always a good atmosphere, good vibe, and everybody's just has a bit of a blast, bit of a laugh, and everyone's really supportive as well. There's nobody's looking at you. Some people think, oh, I don't want to do it, I'm not very fit. Nobody cares. Like, nobody's looking at you and going, I'm fitter than them. There's nobody thinking that, and nobody looking at anybody or saying that. Everybody is just there for themselves, which is what it should be. So it's the same sort of faces as well. You get to know people. There's guys go out weekends together, have made friends. It's great to see the community feel and atmosphere to it, and I'm very, very fortunate to be a part of that. Okay, it's news of the week time, and this one is from some BBC News, and it was out on the 19th of May. And the title of it is Eating Disorder Hospital Cases Up 84% in 5 years in England. Okay, I know it's not exactly here, but it's very close to home, and hopefully there's not a similar pattern here, but I imagine and I fear that there is. So it says too many young people have died from eating disorders when their lives could have been saved with early treatment and help, psychiatrists say. New guidance for all healthcare professionals across the UK sets out how to spot the signs of those at risk and how to best care for them. Hospital admissions for people with eating disorders have risen by 84% over the past 5 years in England. Charities say they're very concerned about the impact on all age groups. The Royal College of Psychiatrists Medical Emergencies and Eating Disorders Guidance says all healthcare professionals, no matter where they work, are increasingly likely to come in contact with someone with severe eating disorder who needs urgent care. The COVID pandemic has made an already growing problem of eating disorders in young people even worse, with mental health charities saying lockdown in particular had a devastating impact on the most vulnerable. That should have been started with the handling of the COVID pandemic has made an already growing problem of eating disorders in young people even worse, not the COVID pandemic. The COVID didn't do that to anybody. It was the handling of it. Lockdown was a response to it. Those restrictions were a response to it. But it's not surprising, is it? It's really not surprising. I can't say I'm that shocked by it. Like the mental health toll on people, I don't think we've even seen, which is really, really concerning. And I suppose all we can do is try and look out for our friends and our families and try and be there for them, and try and do what we can. It's not easy though, is it? How do we deal with stuff like that as just people in the public? If you know someone who's affected by this, my heart goes out to you. It really does. The latest NHS figures show there were 24,268 hospital admissions for eating disorders in England in 2021, up from 13,219 that's nearly double. Like, that's crazy, in 2015-16. With the biggest increases in those aged 18 and under. That's so sad, isn't it? Just kids. The large majority of those affected are young women, but admissions in young men have more than doubled in that time. So it sometimes is often seen as like a female only thing, but that shows you like guys are suffering as well. There's a lot of it knows no bounds, doesn't care what sex you are. James Downs, 32, developed anorexia when he was 15 after experiencing a number of mental health problems, but it was nearly 7 years before he saw an eating disorder specialist because there were none where he lived in South Wales. Nobody had the specialist skills to help me, he says. That's what I mean. Like, how do we can only do so much, right? But I guess it's just trying to pick up on the signs and trying to find who to direct them towards. When James ended up in hospital on a general ward, staff would openly tell him that nobody knew what to do. I was already in a crisis and very scared about hearing that, maybe even more. If they were panicking, it was quite terrifying for me. His health deteriorated over many years despite looking fit and well, and was admitted to hospital more than 20 times. Often this was with dangerously low potassium levels or heart issues, both consequences of malnutrition. It shouldn't have to get to that, he says. Health professionals frequently didn't know what language to use around eating disorders and would often trivialise his problems. Yeah, like I suppose like if you're a guy, there is that risk, isn't there? Like people are going to try and make a joke of it, because it's hard. It's maybe harder to believe. It's often not seen as a guy's problem, is it? It's often not seen as a guy's issue, anorexia and things like that. Which it's sad, but this shows you the stats are there that things like anorexia and bulimia. I think Freddie Flintoff done a program on it not that long ago. He was suffering from it as well, and he still battles with it. So yeah, bit of a crap news story, that one, a bit of a sad one. But let's pick ourselves up with something better. How cranberries could improve memory and ward off dementia. This is interesting. So this is from University of East Anglia, and this is on Science Daily on the 19th of May. Adding cranberries to your diet could help improve memory and brain function and lower bad cholesterol, according to new research from the University of East Anglia, UK. A new study published today highlights the neuroprotective potential of cranberries. The research team studied the benefits of consuming the equivalent of a cup of cranberries a day among 50 to 80-year-olds. A cup, that's quite a lot, is it not? A cup, that's like an apple full, like an apple amount of cranberries. They hope that the findings could have implications for the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases such as dementia. Lead researcher David Vauzier of UEA is Norwich Medical School said dementia is expected to affect around 152 million people by 2050. That's terrifying. There is no known cure, so it is crucial that we see modifiable lifestyle interventions such as diet that could help lessen disease risk and burden. Past studies have shown that higher dietary flavonoid intake is associated with lower rates of cognitive decline and dementia, and foods rich in anthocyanins and proanthocyanins. I don't know those. I'm just going to be honest, I don't know what those are. Which give berries a red, blue, or purple colour have been found to improve cognition. Cranberries are rich in these micronutrients and have been recognised for antioxidant, anti-inflammatory properties. We want to find out more about how cranberries could help reduce age-related neurodegeneration. That's cool, isn't it? Just get your cranberries into you guys. Just start eating cranberries. Because in Ireland, and especially Northern Ireland, we're really high rate of cognitive decline, don't we? And dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that. So that's cool. Okay, this is the last one. This is in Science Daily as well, and it's the 19th of May as well. Everyone eats 3 extra cheeseburgers a day than they admit, study shows. 3 extra cheeseburgers a day. So everyone eats the equivalent of 3 extra cheeseburgers, or the equivalent of, these clickbait headlines, right? The equivalent of 3 extra McDonald's cheeseburgers a day than they admit, regardless of their waistline. University of Essex researchers have revealed the study shows obese and thin people all fib about food. Fib. Haven't heard that word in a long time. Took me a minute to process it there. They all fib about food to the same amount regardless of the number of the bathroom on the bathroom scale, and this could be undermining national health advice. Researchers innovatively took into account the amount of energy a person burns a day, with everyone misreporting how many calories they consume by an average of 900 calories. It found that obese people burn more energy doing day-to-day tasks. They do not lie about food more than slimmer people. It found that as obese people burn more energy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So if you're obese, if you're carrying more weight, basically the logic is that you are doing more work. Your body has to work harder, so you burn more energy than thinner people. Although the gap in reported meals and actual intake was bigger in obese people, they actually burn more calories than non-obese people. That's not news. That's common sense. This cast doubt on the official guidelines that claim Britain's bulging waistlines are due to obese people not telling the truth about their diet. Just accusing people who are overweight of being liars, all perpetual liars. That's crazy. And comes amid controversy sparked by the government backtracking on a proposed ban on buy one get one free junk food deals and a 9 p.m. watershed for sugary snacks. Well, 9 p.m. watershed for yeah. I don't know. I think anytime as a principal, government gets involved in any of these sort of things, it backfires and there's unintended consequences. I really do. I think education is the way to go about it. But we'll see. The researchers hope the findings published by the American Journal of Human Biology will shake up guidance on energy intake. It was led by Professor Gavin Sandercock from the School of Sport, Rehabilitation and Exercise Scientists. The research team said the gap between reported intake and actual expenditure was bigger in obese adults than normal weight adults. Not because they lied about how much they had eaten. Instead, it was because they expended more energy each day than their thinner peers. Bigger bodies need more energy every hour of the day, and particularly during physical activity, because moving your weight is hard work. Yes, that's correct. He put it much better than I could have. We used an innovative mathematical model to correct for the difference in body size between obese and non-obese adults. When we look into the account the different body size and different energy needs there was no difference in how much they underreported their food intake. And it's kind of crazy because we do this all the time. Like I see this all the time, I should say, as a personal trainer. There'll be people who will say, I've tracked my calories and I'm eating healthy and I'm not losing weight. And it's true. They're maybe they maybe think that they're tracking them correctly, but maybe they forget about this thing, or they're not tracking accurately, and that's what happens. It's not because they're intentionally trying to mislead me or deceive me. I don't think. At least it'd be a waste of their money if they're paying me to train them and to help them get in better health and better shape if they just lied to me every week. I don't see the point in that. So 900 calories in numbers is 3 McDonald's cheeseburgers. I thought it would actually be more than 300 calories per burger. Anyway, 5 pints of lager. Whoa, that's not that many. That's crazy. 7 packets of ready salted crisps. Again, that's not that many either. 18 apples. I would like to see you eat 18 apples. 300 cherry tomatoes. That's fantastic, isn't it? It's like 3 calories, obviously, per cherry tomato. That is the end of the news of the week. Hopefully that was enlightening for you. Thought it was quite interesting. Right, joke of the week time. Let's get out of the way. Did you know that I once had a friend who was hospitalised due to a peekaboo incident? Yeah, they put him in ICU. Thank you so much for listening to this episode number 48. 48 in. I think we're over a year, so I missed a few weeks, so we're near coming up on the 52 soon, or the 50. Let's get a special guest on for that one. But thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, hopefully you found that as interesting and had as much fun as I did. So yeah, join me again next week. Hopefully get another episode in next week. And as I said, if you'd like to join any of our classes, if you'd like to try them out, I'm going to stick a link in the show notes and you can check out what it's all about, and you could even sign up there. If you're not sure, just send me a message, send Jack a message, and we'd love to help you out, love to get back to you and help you get fitter and healthier and happier. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to train today so you can be stronger tomorrow.